Life insurance gives me a peace of mind to always know that my family will be financially safe if something, God forbid, happens to me. And so you got to find out what your why is. You got to find out what your story is. You got to really understand what it is that makes you passionate about life insurance. Hello, Primerica, and I'd like to welcome you to Insurance Conversations. We've designed a training program to make sure that we can kind of take you through the life insurance process, if you will. We're going to teach you how to talk to various clients about aspects of life insurance, of the entire life insurance sales process. We're going to talk about really from beginning to end as far as the process goes in life insurance. We're also going to cover product information, which product, how much coverage, what's the right term for a client, how to sell in different markets we're going to cover, how you get paid, where to go, maybe some, sales materials, where to go for your access on POL. And also what's exciting about this entire training program is after each module, we're going to have an activity designed to personalize the training. So get ready. This is going to be kind of a little journey into the life insurance process. And we're excited to be with you here today. I want to kind of talk to you a little bit about how we make a difference in Primerica, and really what is the purpose of life insurance. I mean, obviously, life insurance is one of those areas that is very, very important to us in Primerica. First, life insurance should be called death insurance. Its purpose is to protect against the premature death of a breadwinner. And you got to understand that, especially when you go into these conversations, you got to understand why we're doing what we're doing and really how we impact somebody's life in such a dramatic way. Life insurance does not insure life so much as it protects your dependents from the loss of financial support. So, when I'm sitting down with a client, I always make sure that we got to make it very, very clear that, life insurance is not meant to make you rich. It's meant to provide income. God forbid something happens to the breadwinner of that family. When I think about, my story, and I think about, how I got started and how I got so passionate about the life insurance crusade. I was 21. I didn't know anything about anything. I never sold anything in my life. I had never, done any sort of financial businesses before. And when I got in the business, I had no credibility. I had no market. But the one thing that was kind of going on in my family is my parents were in a class action lawsuit against a major financial insurance company, financial and insurance company, and I saw how the life insurance industry were ripping. They were literally ripping people off, and it was pretty devastating financially when you look at how many lives were affected. And so I kind of got pretty passionate very, very quickly because I saw what was happening to my parents and what they had done to them. And so right away, I decided to go down to the local library and I got every book that I could put my hands on about life insurance, about investments. And I started to see that magazines like Consumer Reports or books like Personal Finance for Dummies or maybe even Money Magazine, all these different publications and articles, they were all saying the same thing, that the type of life insurance that people should be buying is term life insurance 100% of the time. And so I got passionate about it. It almost made me a little bit upset that what happened to my parents and the type of life insurance that they were sold was really devastating financially. And so I got fired up. I began to talk to as many people as I possibly could. Of course, I went out there right away. I got all my licenses under my belt, and I decided to take this thing seriously. And I knew that with somebody like me that understood now that what we were doing in Primerica was right, I could totally impact a lot of lives out there, and I was pretty passionate, pretty fired up about that. When I think about, why life insurance is important to my family, now obviously I work hard to provide for my family. Just as you do, I love my family. My family is everything to me. I have an 11-year-old son, and I also have a 7-year-old daughter. And of course, my wife, we were high school sweethearts. We've been together for over 20 years, and I feel like, look, something happens to me, I want to make sure my family is properly protected. If I don't come home tomorrow, God forbid, my family needs to be provided that income that I was currently providing for them. Life insurance gives me a peace of mind to always know that my family will be financially safe if something, God forbid, happens to me. And so you got to find out what your why is. You got to find out what your story is. You got to really understand what it is that makes you passionate about life insurance. Because when you're across the kitchen table, people need to see that. People need to feel that. They need to know why you decided to do what you're doing, why you're taking it so seriously. There are a lot of people out there that one of the questions that I ask my clients every appointment that I do when I'm doing their financial needs analysis is I ask them, if something happens to your car, do you want it to be fixed? Do you want it to be properly, do you want to be made whole? And of course, every single time they say yes. Of course, I need transportation. I need that car to be taken care of. So if you're spending $150 to protect a hunk of metal outside, how much should we be spending every month to protect the people that we love most in our life? And I just think it's such a big deal that we look at life insurance not as just another bill, but as a way to provide for our families, generations and generations into the future if something were unexpectedly, if something unexpectedly happened to us. I also, one of the things that kind of, fires me up and makes me feel so passionate about what we do is when you look at some tragic, outcomes that have been opposite of what we try to, do for families. I mean, obviously, we're trying to protect families, but some families didn't take that advice. And I'll kind of tell you a little story about what happened very recently to one of our agents. This is a client story. In 2012, the breadwinner, that one of our agents went to go speak with, they didn't believe in life insurance. They didn't believe that it was important to properly protect their income if they didn't come home. And so what happened was he unexpectedly got cancer, and 6 months later he had passed away. And he left his wife and his 2 daughters with no life insurance. And that's pretty devastating. There's no question about it. That's a tragic, tragic story. But let's go a little bit further into the future. So obviously at this point, our agent is pleading with this client, hey, look, it's probably important that you protect these 2 little girls. God forbid something happens to you. You're the only breadwinner that they have now. And we talked about it. Our agent talked about it with her and tried to get her to see it. But unfortunately, she didn't see it. And unfortunately, she declined our offer to properly make that family, to get that family properly protected. And so in 2013, that young lady, she was in her 30s, she got into a car accident and was killed. 2 young children are now left out there with no life insurance and no parents. It's a devastating, devastating story, and I wouldn't wish that upon anyone. But the truth is we had an opportunity to save those little girls' financial future. But I just want to let you know that in the future, we're going to do our best to make sure that never happens to any children ever again. And, I look at my why, and I look at, what I'm so passionate about is my family. And I just look at how much joy they bring to my life. And I don't care how much it costs. I don't care what the price to pay is. I want to make sure that if God forbid something happens to me, don't come home tomorrow. I want to make sure that my family is properly taken care of. And as we go through these modules, as we go through these trainings with you, we want to make sure that there's some sort of activity. We don't just want to talk to you. We want to kind of engage you in this process with us. So number one, we want you to write your personal story about why life insurance is important to you and your family. We also want you to write what would happen if your family had too little or no protection. I think the most important things that you can do to try to get a better understanding of what we do is really visualize. God forbid something happened to you. What would happen to your children? What would happen to your wife or your spouse or your partner if you didn't come home tomorrow? What would the financials look like? Could they have been better off had you taken the steps to be properly protected, to make sure that you had the right type of life insurance? And of course, we know that term life insurance is the best life insurance 100% of the time to make sure a young family is properly protected correctly. And we believe in that. And we're passionate about that. And as you go through these modules in this process, visualize what could happen if you didn't have the right type of protection. And you know what? When you look in their eyes across that kitchen table, that you know that Primerica does what's right 100% of the time. And this is an important thing we're talking about. We're talking about a life insurance crusade. We're talking about changing people's lives. We're talking about making sure that breadwinner is protected at all times. And I just want you to know that this is the moment. This is the moment where you step up to the plate and you do your job, because what we do is so important and so dang right. If you like this video and you want to watch another one, click right here.